We hear the term Pokemon clone thrown around a lot these days, but my question is, what the fuck is a Pokemon clone? It's not something you can just look up on Google, so I've created a definition. I'd say it's a game modeled after the Pokemon series, where you have a main character who goes on an adventure, you catch, train, battle creatures. Game has to have RPG elements and turn-based combat, and it's got just enough differences to call the product original, quote-unquote. In this series, I intend to play through and dissect as many of these products as possible, give them a chance to be critiqued and seen as more than just Pokemon clones. This series was inspired by the content creator Mother's Basement in his video, A Brief History of Pokemon Clones. Links in the description, feel free to check it out. The game starts off with the brother and sister playing. The sister says we gotta go to bed or we get abducted by monsters. Kinda grim. We go to bed and then we're given control of the protagonist, Terry. What fucking kid is named Terry? We leave the room as Terry, and we see a dresser drawer open, and then a monster appears, abducts our sister, and then leaves. Then another monster jumps out, and it takes us to the monster world. There we meet the king of the monster world, who tells us we have to win a Starlight tournament to get a single wish granted, which we can use to bring back our sister. Then he sends us upstairs to get our first monster. Upstairs we meet Pulio in the monster farm. Farm's a good idea. I like that better than boxes. We find that all the monsters have escaped from the farm except one, leaving us one choice for our starter monster. The standard Dragon Quest slime. Cute little slimy boy, little funky man. And we go back down to the king, who sent us on a mission to catch his own monster that escaped from the farm, leading us into the standard gameplay. So, after we leave the castle, we end up going to a standard field map, Dragon Quest style, JRPG style. It's top down, looks like a board game kinda. It's like the, keep saying standard, but pretty standard overworld JRPG map where you just kind of walk around everything. Like, we see treetops and, like, random pickups on the ground. Nothing super out of the ordinary for that time period. To progress through this map, which kind of serves as like a dungeon, it's got different floors. We search for holes in the ground or like warp points. Can't tell you what it is. Can't really make out the details there. I'm gonna guess they're like holes in the ground. That makes sense. Not really, but we'll say it makes sense. So you go to these warp points to go deeper into the map. Along the way we have random encounters with monsters. When we beat a monster we have a chance to add them to our party. The battle design's pretty empty. We see our health bars, battle prompts, and the opponent with nothing else but white space. We can attack, plan, use an item, or flee in battle. Again, I hate that I'm saying standard a lot, but pretty standard Dragon Quest gameplay. When your party accumulates more monsters, they all attack in the same turn, although you might just be facing one monster. So instead of Pokemon where you'd have to switch out to play one single monster per battle, you know, it's, again, Dragon Quest style. Everybody attacks in the same turn. So our first capture is a Draki, which is like a regular bat mob from Dragon Quest, who I gave the default name DK. Not sure if I could actually name it Draki or not, but that's the name it gave me, so I just stuck with it. On progressing through the map/dungeon, we encounter the King's Lost Monster, who's like the boss at the end. Now, the name is kind of hard. Hale, however the fuck you fucking say it, is a healer monster who takes a decent chunk of time and items to beat. That's probably my own fault because I let Draki die, so I was just using the little slime boy to fight it. Eventually she comes with us after we beat her. We take her back to the king, and he lets us keep Haley, whatever the fuck. And then he tells us to enter the arena to qualify for the tournament. And that's where I stopped playing. And I'll tell you why in a bit. I only played about 20-30 minutes of this game, and I see good and I see bad. I see the appeal, and I see some turnoffs. Being a fan of the Dragon Quest series, I enjoy the different mobs and the basic gameplay loop. Keep saying standard, but it's pretty standard JRPG kind of deal. Problem I have with the game, and early Dragon Quest and other JRPGs in general, is the map and traveling seems pretty empty and it really shows its age. I'm not really a fan of the tabletop vibe. Battling's fine mechanically, but getting into battles becomes a little tedious and boring after a bit just because there's not really a lot to see. Seeing our own monsters would be cool, but I understand how it probably wouldn't work because we can accumulate so many, and since they're all involved in the battle at once, that'd be kind of hard to display everything. Same with animations. I don't expect flashy animations. It would be nice to see something, but with so many participants in every battle. I understand the limitations probably wouldn't allow that kind of thing. A subtle background would be nice to the battles. Pokemon gets away with not really having a background in the early 90s, but that's just because there's more on the screen to look at, and it's not really something to worry about. Like, I'm just looking at one sprite and some health bars whenever I play a battle in this, so a little less white space would be ideal. Generally, I would be more inclined to play further in if this wasn't so basic. Being the main portion of the game, it's kind of hard to just look at that for a while. If I didn't have better options, I'd also probably consider playing it more. I think that's probably why it didn't do spectacularly, is because people did have better options from the same time period. I enjoy the game personally, but it's not something I'm going to finish up right now. I might play it later down the line on my own time, but it just leaves a lot to be desired for someone casually trying to pick up and play. I think a new installation today would work pretty well, just because the characters and the mobs are pretty iconic and it'd be fun to use in like a more fleshed out manner. I would love to go on an adventure with my little slimy boy if there was just a little more substance to it. As of right now, I wouldn't personally recommend this game specifically unless you're really itching for something to do, or if you have that old school RPG niche and you like that old JRPG style. It's not for everybody, I know that. If you're playing this as a substitute for Pokemon specifically, I'd probably steer away to other possibilities. It's just not really what you're going to be looking for. So I'm trying to keep these short. Have you tried this game before? If so, what were your thoughts? Did you like the style of the game? What are some other PokeClones I should try? I have some more lined up, but I'm sure I'll run out eventually. If you enjoyed this and want to see more, feel free to subscribe, maybe consider sharing. If you don't, I don't care, it's whatever. But I doubt I'll show up and you're recommended if you don't. So, you do you. Later, you fucking nerds.